Hi, my name is Alessandro Gangelosi and that's a video tutorial coming from cgcookie.com for MaxCookie. This time we'll finish the Photoreal beer bottle series we started some days ago. And I like to work on the shaders and the texture and finalize the other stuffs like lighting and something like that. So the first thing I like to start preparing is the some texture for the bottle. And to prepare the texture, maybe we can use you can use the software you prefer, but maybe I can do something. I'm checking some images, some reference images. So maybe I can prepare something using combustion. You can use, for example, GIMP or Photoshop or After Effects, whatever you like to use. So I'm starting combustion on the other monitor to have the software ready with the right resolution. So I'm checking the resolution and I'm tuning it, and it takes a little bit. Then I have to restart the software. And just a moment. And okay, it is ready, and we can prepare the first texture. And let's say that this part is the upper side of the texture. Let's prepare a new layer, and it will be a solid layer. Let's do it with the right scaling, so 900 and 400, and the background will be maybe a red color. Okay, then we like to make some painting over, and we can use the rectangle, and we can pick the color, and we'll use something like a gold color. And we'll create something like that there, and then Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and then you can move it using the Shift key and the arrow. Okay, then we can do something there. We can, for example, have a logo, and we can write, for example, CG Cookie. There, and we can write it entire bigger, so CG Cookie, and it will be white, and we'll choose for a font. You can choose the font you prefer, obviously it is not so important, and let's say that this one is okay. So then I can move this one there, and I think I can make it a little bit maybe it's okay. We have to check the scale later, and let's say that we have another text, and we write beer, again using the white color, and we'll go for a different font. More little, and use a little bit of spacing. Sorry. And this one can be moved there, and we can see that it is a little bit less visible. Okay, then I like to let's go there, and I like to import a layer, and I'm on the other monitor because the window is really big. And then choosing the texture, you have it. I copied the CG Cookie logo for you. I'm trying to pick it. And we have it. So let's scale a little bit. We have it there. Let's make it a little bit more little, and we can move this one like there, and I like to move this one too. Okay, let's save this image. I'm saving as a JPEG with 100% quality, and I will write it on the folder we are using there for the project, so you can find it, and just give me the time to save it. And I call it upper texture, bottle texture. Okay, we have it. So let's go there, and I like to use this texture there. So we have to do something there over the shader. So our bottle is this one. You know that we can, for example, add a texture there, but I prefer to use another way. And we can use, for example, I have to check also, we are using the I don't remember if we are using array. Okay, so we have to do it in another way for the moment. And to do it in another way, we can, for example, pick some faces and give it different ID. Let's think about, for example, we have not so much face there, so let's see if we pick, okay, maybe we have to pick just this area. Maybe we can do something like that. Okay, and in this area we can set the ID to number 2. So let's go there, and let's say that this one is a multi-sub object. Keep all the map. Let's say for the moment to have 2 material, and there we can work on the other one. We can have again an icon design. We can choose for a bitmap, and we go in the right folder where you have the project to pick the texture. Okay, we have to work on the UVW map. We go for a cylinder over the x-axis, fit, and then we can scale it. Let's say 3 centimeters, and let's move it. Okay, I have a problem with the viewport layout tab. Okay, back to the code. Okay, and zoom to this area. Then we can move there to the center, scale it, and we can make you can also fix the texture to have a better look. Okay, let's go there, and let's say that we like to render a preview just for this area, and render. You see that it is working. Let's stop. We have to change a little bit the shader. Let's remove the blurring, and for the reflectivity we can go for let's say a little bit of glossiness. Okay, and we can give, just to try this one as color, but with a color correction, keep all map, and this one will be brighter. So we'll use the color from the texture to decide how it will look. Okay, and then another little test. And it seems working. Maybe I'd like just to have less reflection, so let's say maybe 0.35 and more glossy, so 0.3, and now it should work. As you see, it is better than before. Perfect. Let's close. Now we need another texture for the main area there, so let's save, and let's go to prepare the other texture. To do it, we need again this one, and let's say that we'll use the same colors, but we'll need a bigger scale for the texture. Let's try with something like that, and like that. Okay, and we'll go for, let's remove this one and this one. This one can be removed, and the logo is okay. Let's go to pick this one, and we need this one. Scale it. We can go for something like that. Then let's use the logo with a bigger scale. Let's see if we can use in a different way. And let's see if we go, for example, to have a bigger one like that, and let's change this one to multiply. Okay, and then we go maybe to have in the paint there, let's go to have another shape, and we go for a white color, and let's see what happened in the bigger one there. This one will go there and there. Okay, and I like to scale it in this way. and we have the logo over it. Let's say maybe the logo can be moved. Okay, and then there's one will be again CG, sorry, we have the grid now. Shift G to remove the grid, and then back there we call it again CG cookie, and this one will be red. And let's move this one there. Then we can go back to have it more near, and let's go for a text that can be visible enough. Let's go for bold, or maybe we can decide to have a bigger let's say something like that, something with the right opacity. And let's see to have a shadows, and we'll say that the shadows is near, and it will be there. Okay, and then another text beer. We can go for a black color. Okay, it's really simple, so you can play with the texture as you like and as you prefer. We can go there and make a copy of this one, and this one will be let's say with something like that. And we'll have also the shadows that will stay there, and it will be a little bit bigger. Okay, then let's save this texture in the same way we done before, and I call it middle bottle texture. Let's go in 3ds Max back. Then we need to make another selection, and we can go back there in the edit poly, or maybe we can go there to have another edit poly, so we can control in a different way. Let's see how much faces we can pick. Okay, we go with death faces, and death faces will be ID number 3, and that's okay. So let's go there. Let's say that we have 3, and this one will be a copy. But before there we have to edit, select invert, and we'll have 1. So then there we can close, we have this one, and then we have the selection there. Okay, and let's make the selection. Okay, and as polygons we'll have 3. Then we need a UV map. It will be cylinder X fit, and then we can go there and choose a different texture, and we can choose the second one, this one. We can do the same thing there, which is the second one, and then we can play directly there with the UV map, but we have just to say there to use the UV map W2, and there too to use the number 2. Okay, so this one will be the number 2, and we can first of all scale this one. Sorry. Okay, let's go in the map. We are tuning this one, and let's say that we need something like that, and we have to, let's say 0.95. It should work. Okay, so we have 1.7 and 0.95. These shaders are really simple. And save, and let's check the entire bottle. Okay, you see that we have the right texture over the beer. Let's stop. Okay, now we can continue working on the other stuffs. And we can try adding some bubbles over the beer bottle there. And to do this, we can use the particle system, particle flow. Let's open the window. Okay. And there we can set something really simple. We'll use a position object. We'll have no speed, no rotation, and the position object will be the bottle. Let's say to see all the particles, and all the particles will burn at frame 0. We'll go to have some sphere, and we'll go to say please show us the geometry. Obviously we have to choose for a right scale, and let's say that we have 50%, maybe 40% variation. Let's say that we have 500. Let's create a simple shader. Let's say water bubbles, and there we use a material static, and we can assign this one as an instance. Let's go to have an arc and design, and we can start with a really simple shader as the let's go for the water, and we'll have in the special effects, nothing, and we can go in the advanced and we can do nothing. We can remove the bump there, and let's check the other parameters. We can remove this color and we can go for a black. We say that we have the transparency and we can see what happened. Let's save and let's render again. You see that we have something over the bottle now, and we can do something like, let's close and let's add a huge number. Let's say, for example, maybe, okay, something like that, and we can try to render this area a little bit bigger. So let's say that it will be higher, 700. So you see this area is really big, but in this way we can check the bottle in a better way. So that's the actual result, and something we can do is to have, first of all, a different scaling, and we can have more particles, and we can do something related to the glass tools to have a bigger and better quality. So let's go in the shader there, and the first one has a lot of glossiness. Let's go to have less glossiness. Let's try with 0.8, and there we like this one. So actually I have nothing to do over it, but we can change how the particles are created. So you have two ways. You can use, for example, from there the compound object, the blob mesh. Let's save, let's say to this one to show just dots, or maybe, okay, dots in this way, and let's try to use the blob mesh, and we give the particle flow source, and this one can be a way to have the particles with a blob. But to obtain a better quality, obviously you have to play a little bit with the parameters. I prefer to use frost, but here I have no frost. So you can tune the blob mesh. I will use the particles just to be faster during the rendering. So let's go to select again the particle flow, and we go there and we say to use the geometry, and we'll go to have more little, let's say 70%, so we have more variation. Let's save and let's try to see again how it will look. So that's the actual result. I think we can have more and more bubbles there. We can go for something like that, and later we can check it. I like to play a little bit more there with the reflection. We can go for something more visible, and let's say that we have an higher level of IRR to have a better reflection, and we'll have less glossy. Okay, something like that for the moment. And on the second material there, I like to have maybe a little bit more reflectivity. with maybe less glossiness, but we have to test it. So let's save and again. Okay, we have a better contrast actually, and we have better reflection over the water, over the bottle too. Okay, let's say that I like to have it more little. So you see we have a little, a huge amount of teeny bubbles, and then we can see if it works or not. Let's go to tune also a little bit the light, so light lister, and the first one I like to let's see, this one will be something like that, and this one will be something like that. See if we have an environment. Actually we have no environment, but I like to have an environment there, and we can use, for example, an HDR map. We can use one of the basic map from 3ds Max. So I will go in the programs Autodesk 3ds Max folder, maps, and let's go for the HDR. Let's see what we can use. Maybe this one can be enough. Let's use the basic value. Let's go for spherical map, and we'll use this one. Let's check now the rendering. Okay, and let's make a test render. Okay, I think that there we have the glass is not bad. We have there the glass that is not bad. We have to see in a better way the fluid there, because I don't see the fluid, and I like also to work on this shader. So let's cancel and let's save, and just for a moment let's rotate the bottle just to have a little bit more realistic tuning there for the map. So there inside the beer, let's go in the rendering and let's focus on the beer bottle, on the beer glass, sorry. Let's go in the Baris shader, and let's pick the glass. Okay, and there I like to add a little bit of bump, and we can use a noise. I have just to check if the scale is right or not. and you see that we have some distortion over there. We can try with a more little scale. Let's see what happens when we have, for example, 5. We can see the distortion over the reflection, because obviously nothing is 100% perfect. So you see we need to have a little bit of distortion. Okay, cancel. Then let's focus on the beer shader. I was thinking also to try to have more distortion. Let's try with maybe, I'm sorry, I'm touching the wrong shader. Let's try maybe with 0.3, just to see how it looks. Okay, we see that the scale is too big. So let's go there and let's say maybe 0.5, but we have to test, because maybe 0.5 is too little, but I'm not sure about it. Okay, the scale can be maybe enough, but obviously you see the amount is really high. Let's go to 0.05. Is still too much. Let's go for 0.01. And you see that now it is a little bit more visible and it seems better. So let's stop. Okay, now I like to focus again over the shader there, and I like to make something there over the water, the beer. Let's see what happens if we have a glossiness to simulate the beer coloring with the glossiness over the refraction. You see that it is starting to be better than before. Let's wait a little bit to see if the result can be enough. And I can say that it is not bad. So maybe we can stay with this value. You can make some testing with an higher value for the glossiness. So let's save, and then I like to really go again over the bubble to focus a little bit over the shader, and let's go to the shader there on this one. Okay, let's say that our transparency is completely white. Okay, so you see in this way we can check how to play over the bubble, and I can say that maybe we can go to have again more little bubbles over it. So let's pick there, and let's say that we go for 0.15, and back on the shader, if we see the shader I like to change the colors for the reflectivity. Let's go for something more yellow. And let's see what happened. We need just some seconds just to see if it is going in the right way. Okay, you see that the reflection is better now, so let's stop. Okay, and then save and back on the refraction. So let's work a little bit on the reflection color, and let's see what happened. You know, we have to play really careful with the parameters to obtain the right colors. I mean, this one is not bad, but maybe I like to have a darker color. Let's go for something like that. It seems not bad. Okay. Then let's save. And I like to have the same distortion we have on the glass. So we can copy this one with the right mouse button and we can paste there as a copy, and there we have 001, so we can go for 001. So we have some distortion over there too, and let's check again there, and I think that we have the bubble in the right way. I like to add a little bit of foam over the surface there, and to do something like that we have to select the bear. Let's go in a perspective view, and let's zoom, and let's go in a shaded way. And we can try, for example, using this one. We can make a copy, and we call it phone, and we can convert to editable poly, and we can invert scale selection. Okay, and we can assign a simple shader. Okay, then let's check. Let's select the phone. Okay, and I think we have something also there, so we have to remove it. And I think we have something else there. No? Okay, let's center the pivot. We can follow the two way. We can, for example, check how many edges we have, and you see that we have nothing. Or we can use, for example, the particles, and using the particles we can have the foam. Let's try to use a particle system, or maybe we can use directly. Let's try to tessellate this one. Maybe we can achieve the same level. Let's go for triangle, and let's have no tension. and let's try in this way. Okay, then let's go for compound blob mesh, and we'll add the foam mesh. Let's go there. Okay, and you see that something it is coming. Let's go to something like that with a relative coarseness. Okay, and let's go. Sorry. Let's lower it to 2. Maybe 0.3. And let's remove the edged faces. And now we'll check it. We need maybe more polygons, you see, but we can check it. So let's go in the camera, and this one will be an arc on the sign, and for the moment we'll have no reflectivity, and we'll have something like that. Okay, just to see. And let's have the rendering area there and render. Okay, that's what we see actually, and we have to and this from this point of view we don't need to play more with a scene setup there for the blob mesh, but we have to change the shape. So what we can do, for example, is to make a copy of this one, or convert it to editable poly, or you can, for example, make a snapshot of this one as a mesh. And now you can pick, for example, the blob mesh number 2, and you see that we are talking about an editable mesh. So we can go to pick the blob mesh 1 and the foam, and we can hide it. So if you need it, you can play in another way. We can call this one foam, and we can scale it, but to be sure we are scaling in the right way, we need to see there. So let's go in a perspective, and let's start playing with it. We can play directly in the scaling there. So we are sure that we have it just over the beer. Okay, back there, and let's try to do something over the shader. And to do something, I like to have something like a transparency and a little bit of reflectivity. So let's go for 0.3 with a huge glossiness, and also the transparency will be not so high, let's say maybe 0.25, but we'll have the glossiness, let's say 0.4. Let's see what happened. We are just testing to find a fast way to simulate the foam. I'm not trying to do a physical way to simulate it, just a simple shader to simulate it in the best way. I think we can move it a little bit to have it more inside the water, and I like to have more transparency. And let's recheck. It is not bad. And we can change a little bit the color. We'll go for something like that. Let's see the result. I like to change also the refraction color. I think that actual result is really not bad. Okay. So let's try to see this result with the right quality. And that's our final result. You see that the quality is really high. You can play a little bit with the texture to have a better texture, and you can play a little bit with frost to have, for example, better bubbles there. And if you are a citizen, you can play with a tutorial we'll release really soon to make bubbles of water falling down to the beer, or you can make some testing to understand how to do it. So for the moment that's all, and I hope to see you back on Max Cookie to check for new tutorial coming from cgcookie.com. Bye.